ADHD. Well, a new book creating a lot of controversy. It claims not only is ADHD overdiagnosed, but that it doesn't even exist. So is that true? Neurologist Dr. Richard Saul is the author of ADHD Does Not Exist, The Truth About Attention Deficit and Hyperactivity Disorder. He joins us now with his argument. Thank you for being here, Doctor. Good morning. So you say that there are many other things that are misdiagnosed and sort of diagnosed into the ADHD category. What are they? We have a screen of them. These are disorders mistaken for ADHD.
Exactly, and that's why I say it doesn't exist, because there are at least 20 and more than 20 conditions that mimic the symptoms of ADHD, impulsive, distractible, etc.
So here we're seeing anxiety, mood, learning, sleep, and thyroid disorders. You're saying those things combined are creating this attention deficit, but that ADHD itself does not truly exist?
Right. It doesn't exist as a disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
What is it?
It's one of those 20 conditions, not combined, but each one can mimic those.
Okay.
Yes.
We actually have, I want you to respond to this because this came in and it was interesting. There was someone who criticized your remarks here. Her name's Gina Parrish. She's the author of Is It You, Me, or Adult ADD? She says, quote, millions of adults with ADHD are not diagnosed because the old-timey physicians such as this, those who do not keep up with the literature, want to make things simpler than they are. Any physician who claims that ADHD is not a valid disorder is lying to you and perhaps to himself. Your response?
My response is she never read the book. And I did communicate with her, and I was trying to explain to her, please read the book before you go on. The point is, every physician, whether it's a student or a physician or a resident, is taught differential diagnosis. You have a working disorder symptom like ADHD. Then you should tick off the various possible choices until you come up with a diagnosis.
Let's talk about treatment, though, right? So, I mean, undoubtedly, you have a point, because the use of stimulants is on the rise in terms of this diagnosis. 40% increase over the last 10 years. 11% of all kids in the country are now diagnosed. Now, some may indeed need to be diagnosed with ADHD. How are you to treat it if it's not named then as a disorder? If it's a combination of any one of 20 conditions or symptoms, what's the solution for treating it?
You have to rule in or rule out each one of those 20 things to find out what the real answer is. And there is a small percentage that I call neurodevelopmental, impulsive, distractible, and some of those would respond to a stimulant. But by and large, most conditions that mimic this don't. For instance, a hearing disorder or a vision disorder.
Well, some symptoms are still treated, even though they are a result of something greater.
Oh, yes, they're treated
so
somehow.
Treating a headache if it's due to lack of sleep, exhaustion, anxiety, you don't think it's bad to treat ADHD or something?
In many cases, they need treatment, but it doesn't need to be a stimulant.
Okay.
By the way, there's 1 million new prescriptions this last year. That's a lot. And I think it's just a small percentage that needs stimulants. And there's so many that get side effects from taking the stimulants.
Sure.
Many of the people who come to my office come after they've been on stimulants and not getting good results.
Dr. Saul raising a controversial point, but also bringing a great deal of it to our attention. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Coming up.